In this video, I'm going to run you through an example of tapping in my real life. And this was an example of something that just happened this morning, just 10 or 15 minutes ago. Now, I can share the example with you because I've now processed what had happened and I feel really neutral and calm about it. But let me just walk you through it as an example of how I'm using tapping in my day-to-day life. And it might give you some ideas about how you can weave it into your life really simply and easily. So I had gone outside with a glass of water to put my bare feet on the earth and to get some morning light into my eyes. And when I'd finished my glass of water, I spotted a weed, a vine, a weedy vine in a tree that I wanted to pull out. And I had successfully managed to grab out like one whole chunk of it. And then I was like, oh, that's good. I want to pull out more. Now I still had the glass in my hand. And as I pulled another chunk of the vine out, the glass dropped and it smashed on the bricks that were underneath my feet. Now, I have enough meditation mindfulness practice that when something somewhat shocking happens, that I just pause and I survey the scene and I calmly think about what to do. There was no one around. And as I look at this scene, the very first thing I hear was like, and actually I said it out loud to myself, well, that was silly. And I carefully backed away from the scene with my bare feet and went inside to go and find a plastic bag to be able to put all the pieces of the glass into. And as I was walking up to the house, I realized I had all this underneath this, that was silly, was actually all this emotion that I was suppressing. Now, it would look on the outside like she was really calm. She looked at the situation. She went to go and solve the problem. But internally, there was so much energy that I was holding back, right? And this is what's beautiful. As you do more tapping, you become more aware of emotionally and physiologically what is happening within the body and if you're holding stuff down. Now, not in every situation that we're in is it going to be appropriate for us to do a flat out tapping session on the spot. We might be caring for children. We might be in the middle of a work day. We might be driving. It might not always be contextually appropriate or even safe. But if it is, then that's a great time to be like, whoa, what is all that stuff I'm holding down? Let's tap on some of that. So that's what I did. I came back and I thought, okay, well, what are some of the things that I'm hearing? That was silly. Okay, I tapped on that. What's underneath that? That was stupid. Okay, I tapped on that. Now, keep in mind, these are things that I hold in my subconscious mind. We all hold all sorts of old, unhelpful beliefs, thoughts, memories in our subconscious mind, and that's what we want to clear. Underneath that was stupid was I am stupid. I'm like, well, I don't want that one hanging around. So I tapped on that. And what I'm doing is very, very short rounds of tapping on each new thing I find, giving it some space. And as soon as that level or that layer clears, inevitably the next thing comes through. So what was the next thing I heard? There was a series of 6 or 8 really unkind things that I heard that I was storing within my system. I've already done such a good job of clearing them that I'm struggling to remember. Let's see. I'm silly. That was silly. That was stupid. I am stupid. I felt guilty about breaking a glass that my partner really likes, that we use all the time. So I tapped on that. So that guilt, feeling bad. Obviously, I don't like breaking things, but it's done already, right? There's no point in ruminating over it. So I cleared that layer. There was also let's see, there was something in there about deserving, and that was really interesting. There was another layer, but I've forgotten it already. But you get the idea. But when I thought about how I was thirsty and I really wanted a second glass of water. And immediately what I heard is, I don't deserve it, or you don't deserve it. One of those two. Again, that's so interesting, right? You would never deprive a small child, I would hope not, of a second glass of water because she accidentally broke the first glass, right? So in the deserving was bad girl stuff, like I am a bad girl. There must have been times when I was a child where I made a mistake, where I broke something and then I got punished. And so I can see that that stuff was still sitting in my system. So I cleared some of that. I was simultaneously kind of mortified that I was hearing not deserving bad girl stuff. I'm like, there's so much of this stuff living in our system, people. It is like astounding. This is why it's worth taking 5 minutes to tap on something when you break a fucking glass, right? It's like powerful opportunity for transformation in the seemingly mundane. So I was one part like astounded that there was all this junk in there, awful, not deserving, bad girl stuff that I'm still holding in my own system. But I was also simultaneously amused of like, oh, good, well, I'm glad I found that and I could get rid of another layer of that, right? So the not deserving, I cleared a layer of that. I'd done a really good job of cleaning stuff up. I'd gone back into the house after picking up as much of the glass as I could. And I spotted that I had accidentally, it's already cleared up now, but I had got a tiny little bit of glass, had cut the top of this finger. I can't even see it now. But when I saw it, I got another like, oh, well, you deserve that. As in, you did something bad, therefore you deserve to be hurt. You deserve to have something bad happen. And actually, there's still a little bit of power in that one, as I say it. So again, like not helpful. Let's not have that in my system. Thank you very much. Let's not have that in your system if you find this stuff. So I walked back into the house to get a really big container of water so I could just wash down the tiles. With every layer of tapping, I'm feeling calmer and more resourced to make really sensible decisions about how to clean this up. I can't vacuum it. It's not going to work because I'm outside and in between the tiles there's like leaves and there's tiny shards. But I don't want to accidentally walk out there, me or my partner or anyone else, with bare feet and get tiny shards of glass. So I take responsibility for the mistake that I've made and I'm washing the tiles down with water. And when I walk back in for a second to fill up the bottle a second time, the sun has finally risen and it's beautiful. There's all this thick cloud that means that as the light comes up, the light is making the clouds like pink and orange. And you know the first thing I hear? You don't deserve to enjoy that. And I'm like, how much of this stuff is in there, right? And it just gets triggered by the smallest thing. I broke a glass that I probably really shouldn't have been holding, right? It was not that sensible. But we're human and we make mistakes and we do human things. And it's about how much compassion we can have for ourselves and how much we're willing to be with how we feel. Like I felt some pretty unhelpful things, old things. Like this is really, because I have worked through so much stuff, this is really old childhood stuff. This is like me as a really small child breaking things and then probably getting yelled at, probably getting smacked. A lot of the things that you might have experienced too. So I really wanted to enjoy the sunrise. So I was tapping on that stuff because it's like I'm human and I made a mistake. So at the last point where I was pouring the water down for the last time and I'm like surveying the scene to make sure, do I, with my adult brain, think this is safe enough to leave it as it is? And I hear, yeah, that was silly. And what was interesting is even though the words were similar to when I very first started this like awareness that I needed to tap, how the words sounded and felt and landed in my body were very different. There was like just a recognition of like, yeah, Carolyn, if you were watching a small child, if I was watching my own niece or nephew hold a glass and try and like pull things out of the garden at the same time, the same way that I was, I would tell them, hey, you need to put the glass down. Find a safe place to put the glass down, and then you can pull the vine out of the tree. You can do the things that require both hands, because I would let them know that that was the safe thing to do, right? So what I was doing this morning was silly. It's not the most sensible thing to do. But once I had taken 5 minutes, that's all it was, really, like 5 minutes of tapping in between cleaning it up. It's taken me longer to do this video to explain it to you than it actually took me to do the tapping, right? And that's how fast it can be. But in that 5 minutes, the amount of emotion that I was feeling in here, it's gone. And that's how easy it can be. Now, why would you bother? Why would you bother like taking 5 minutes to tap about a glass? You're like, you know, the saying, don't cry over spilt milk comes to mind, right? And it's like, we can think, oh, it's just a little thing, it doesn't matter. But I heard somebody brilliant the other day, and I can't remember who it was. I wish I did so I could credit them. But they said the little things are the big things. And I can't agree more. That little thing of accidentally smashing a glass brought up so much old stuff that was really big for me. The calling myself stupid, the thinking that I don't deserve another glass of water, that I don't deserve to enjoy a sunrise, that I do deserve to be hurt, right? Because I did a bad thing, right? They're big things. Think about where those sorts of beliefs can get in the way of you or I allowing love into our life, allowing other forms of success into our life, allowing money into our life, allowing great health into our life. All the good things that you want for yourself, you can't let them in if you're calling yourself stupid. If you're saying that you don't deserve XYZ thing, because yeah, I trust that makes sense. So I'm going to pause the video there. If you know that you would like to be able to learn how to do really simple trauma-informed tapping with me, I will put links below this video. Below all of my videos on YouTube, I always put links to resources and ways you can work with me. So always, you know, check out what I've got below there. And if this video is helpful, then tell me in the comments or like it or share it or whatever makes sense for you. And I hope that you have a fabulous day and use tapping in your life in those like bite-sized chunks, taking the opportunity to make your life work so much better, a tiny bit at a time.